I am totally muted this entire time. Good morning, Roberta. How are you today? Sorry about that. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys are having a good summer so far. I, of course, have been insanely busy, as you guys know, and I'm sure most of you guys have been busy as well. Um, it's just been fun, fun, fun. But I did want to come live and kind of discuss a little bit of everything that's been going on. Good morning, Levy, and just have an open, honest discussion with you guys about, I don't know, I guess my thoughts and feelings and everything that's been going through my head lately. So that's what we're gonna do. But let me pull this up real quick. Libby is having a sale on her Shopify, and she has a code. I think it's get 40 off. Let me post this for you guys. Libby is a Sleuth family member, and here's her Shopify link. And let me share this just to show you guys a few things in her shop and some of the stuff that she has. Really great tumblers, t-shirts, and things of that nature. Sorry about that. Okay, so we got some t-shirts, some mugs, some car coasters. We got Sleuth Mom merch. We got all kinds of stuff on here for you guys to check out. Earrings. Scroll through, see if there's anything that you like. Like I said, she's running a sale right now. And so this is where you can find the Sleuth Mom merch now. Used to have a Teespring shop or something along those lines. They charge an insane amount of money, and none of it comes to me anyway. So we might as well support a Sleuth Mom family member if you guys are interested. So before we jump too far into this, I do want to share a video of Governor Shapiro. He is talking about the victim of the horrible tragedy that occurred just 40 minutes away from my home this weekend. And it's devastating because there is a local firefighter who lost his life in this attack. And so I want to share that information first. So let's watch this.
We lost a fellow Pennsylvanian last night, Corey Comparator. I just spoke to Corey's wife and Corey's two daughters. Corey was a girl dad. Corey was a firefighter. Corey went to church every Sunday. Corey loved his community. And most especially, Corey loved his family. Corey was an avid supporter of the former president and was so excited to be there last night with him in the community. I asked Corey's wife if it would be okay for me to share that we spoke. She said yes. She also asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero, that Corey dove on his family to protect them last night at this rally. Corey was the very best of us. May his memory be a blessing. Last night was shocking for this community and for this Commonwealth, and I know for this country. Political disagreement.
Apparently, we're going to buffer.
Can never, ever be addressed through violence. Disagreements are okay, but we need to use a peaceful political process to settle those differences. This is a moment where all leaders have a responsibility to speak and act with moral clarity, where all leaders need to take down the temperature and rise above the hateful rhetoric that exists and search for a better, brighter future for this nation. It's the work that I try to do every day here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And that's the work that falls to each and every American right now. So I ask that you join me in prayer for the two Pennsylvanians who are in critical condition.
I'm not sure if it's StreamYard having issues or if it's my internet. I don't know what's going on, but that buffered a whole bunch of times, so I do apologize for that. Um, Bushes, try going out and back in. I think that's what several of you guys just did because we dropped like literally down to nobody watching. But here's the thing. So we're going to talk about all of this, but before we talk about all of this, not just the Trump stuff, right? We're not going to just talk about Trump. I want to talk about the YouTube drama as well. I want to talk about the Democrat versus Republican. I want to talk about the in general, the hatred that is filling our country right now. Just the absolute total, it's not even just our country, it's the world, and the state that we are in right now, it's just devastating. And I feel like that we are truly at a point of no return at this moment. And so I just kind of want to come on and discuss with you guys all of this stuff. Rambling, this is about 35 minutes from my home. My husband and I were talking about going that morning because my kids were going to be at a wedding and we weren't going to it. And so we had considered going up, and then he didn't want to deal with traffic and all of that stuff because the road that they put this on, it's like on a straight stretch and there's basically one way in, one way out. Like it's a horrible location as far as the backed up traffic goes. And so that was ultimately the decision that we made, was to not attend. But I do know people who were in the bleachers behind Trump. I know people who were in the stands that day. I know people who were in that audience. We have family members who were in that audience. Um and just the fear. And then I'm reading through, and after everything happens, I am hoping to see people come together, right? Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a Green Party candidate or whatever voting status you are, I was expecting to see people come together, because what happened, no matter what party line it is, no matter what candidate it is, this is the stuff that happens in third world countries. This is the stuff that happens in third world countries to try to eliminate one of the political candidates that's opposing the party that you choose. And I didn't see that. I seen a Colorado representative come out and say something along the lines of, well, we didn't need to be in a position where people have sympathy for the devil, yet here we are. And I'm reading thousands, tens of thousands of comments of people saying, too bad he missed. I'm watching family members of mine post memes making fun of the fact that this occurred. And it's heartbreaking because the collateral damage of this, the collateral damage of the hatred, and I know that that's a trigger word. People on YouTube seem to get very triggered whenever you describe the things that they are doing as hate. They seem to get very, very triggered about that. But the collateral damage to the hate that we are constantly spewing, to the extent that we are taking our differences now and making it so that people are motivated to do these types of things. The collateral damage is this. This firefighter who lost his life, and the family, the wife and the daughter that were sitting right next to him as he died. The family that were right there as he got his head blown off. This is the collateral damage for all of this hatred. Since yesterday, time stopped, and when it started again, my family and I started living a real life nightmare. What was supposed to be an exciting day that we had all looked forward to, especially my dad, turned into one of the most traumatizing experiences someone could imagine. I know all the media will cover this event, and I'm going to try my best to stay away from looking at everything, especially because I've already seen and lived through it in real time. But I want everyone to know what the media will not cover and will not say about him. He was the best dad a girl could ask for. My sister and I never needed for anything. You call, he would answer. He would do whatever it was you needed. And he didn't know how he would figure it. If he didn't know how, he would figure it out. He could talk and make friends with anyone, which is what he was doing all day yesterday, and loved every minute. He was a man of God. He loved Jesus fiercely, and also looked after our church and our members as family. The media will not tell you that he died a real life superhero. They are not going to tell you how quickly he threw my mom and I to the ground. They are not going to tell you that he shielded my body from the bullet that came at us. He loved his family. He truly loved us enough to take a real bullet for us. And I want nothing more than to cry on him and tell him thank you. I want nothing more than to wake up and for this to not be the reality for me and my family. We lost a selfless, loving husband, father, brother, uncle, son, and friend. And I will never stop thinking about him and mourning over him until the day that I die too. July 13th will forever be a day that changed my life. I will never be the same person I was less than 24 hours ago. There are a lot of children out there that say their dad is a hero, but my dad really is mine. I don't think I would be here today without him. Dad, I love you so much. There aren't enough words to express how deep that love goes. I know you'll give heaven some hell. I know that God is proud of the man that came to his gates yesterday. This is the collateral damage for the hatred that we have spread. Yeah, I knew they were blue, but the blackness of their hearts, wow. I could care less if you're a Democrat. If you're in this audience right now and you are a Democrat, congratulations for having a difference of opinion with me. But we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. And it's both sides. It's not just one side. It's not. Look, I can show you right now several posts that it's back and forth. Here we go. Here's Joe Biden calling Donald Trump and Republicans evil. Shocker, right?
Among other Republicans about the danger of a second Donald Trump term. And I'm genuinely fearful for what that could look like. But consistently, we're seeing poll after poll that are showing Trump beating your husband outside of the margin of error. When in fact, last time in 2020, Joe Biden was beating him in nearly every poll. How do you turn those numbers around with 5 months out? And are you fearful of what a second Trump term could look like?
Or a third, as Donald Trump says. So we are going to meet people where they are. We're going to go to college campuses. We're going to go to just every state that we can get into. I've been traveling every single day. Joe has been traveling as much as possible. And we're not going to take anything for granted. And those polls are going to turn, I'm confident of it, because as time goes on and as people start to focus a little bit more about what's at stake and start to become educated on the issues and the differences between the two men, I believe that Americans are going to choose good over evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comparing him to evil, but look, Trump does the same thing.
Last several years.
You have to be very strong. You're fighting off very evil forces, and they're very smart forces. There are people that control Biden, totally true. I think I know who they are largely. But there are people that control him. They're very smart, very energetic. Possibly they're real believers, you know, what their sick ideology is.
What is the hardest?
We're making it all about good versus evil, good versus evil, good versus evil, and it is to a point. But which one are we feeding? Which wolf do we feed? I don't know how many of you guys have ever heard the metaphor about the two wolves that are battling inside of you. And the way it goes is a grandfather is talking to his grandson, and he tells him a fight is going on inside of me. He said it's a terrible fight between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, ego. And the other is good, joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith. He says the same fight is going on inside of you and inside of every person too. And the grandson thought about it for a moment, and then he asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? And he says, the one that you feed. Which one are we feeding? Day after day after day. Which one are we feeding? Are you filling yourself with anger, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, resentment, lies, false pride, superiority, ego? Are you feeding that daily? Are you engaging in this stuff daily? Filling yourself with all of this hate daily? Or are you feeding yourself with humility, goodness, love, peace, empathy? What happened to empathy? Being empathetic for what the person next to you is going through. Truly relating to one another on a level and understanding that our paths are different. Compassion, truth, and faith. What are you putting your faith into? Are you relying? Are you only relying on who the president elected is going to be? I'm going to tell you something. They don't run this country. They are the face. But that's not who runs the country. The elections that we need to worry about are the ones in your local government, your state government. We're electing the same people year after year after year after year for the last 40 years for some of them, 20 plus years. And we're wondering why we're on this same pathway every time, no matter who's in office. Don't put your faith in man. Don't put your faith in man. And this is what's happening because we are relying so heavily on who the face of our country will be when none of it matters. None of it matters. And we're letting it put so much anger and hatred in between us. And I keep saying hatred because that's what it is. You don't look at somebody and say, too bad they missed, because we love them. You don't look at somebody and say, too bad he turned his head, too bad he missed, Sorry about the collateral damage. I read comments saying that they wish that the shooter would have taken out the whole audience. What? These are your neighbors. These are your family members. These are the people surrounding you in life every day. The person who makes your coffee in the morning, the person who fixes your HVAC, the plumber down the road, the dry cleaner that you see day after day, week after week. And you wish that the shooter would have taken out the whole audience? When did we get to a place when the collateral damage is worth the difference in our opinions? And it's not just Democrat versus Republican. This goes well beyond that. We're watching it here on YouTube as well. We have gotten to the point where channels seek to destroy other channels. I can't even click onto this platform most of the time anymore because it's just one fight after another. It's just one person spewing hate after another. Which one are you feeding? If you are filling your head and your ears with all of this day after day after day after day after day, is that healthy? Which wolf will win? You're not feeding the one that is good. You're not feeding the one that is good. Whenever you engage in all of this stuff, it's not just YouTube. It's not just YouTube, you guys. I know some people will be like, "Oh, well, it's just YouTube. I'm just watching it. We're just hanging out with my friends while we bash and talk and bully and criticize and review each other and read your chats. Read your chats. Read the venom that's going on in your chats. It's disgusting. It absolutely is hate. What is hate's description? Hate is a feeling of intense or passionate dislike. Hatred is an intense negative emotional response toward a certain people, things, ideas, usually related to opposition towards something. Hatred is often associated with intense feelings of anger, contempt, and disgust. It is everywhere, Annie Lou. Our country has never been so divided in my lifetime. It's our whole world. It's not just the United States. That's what scares me. It's not just the United States. This is everywhere. Does anyone really listen to the idiots and power words out of buzzwords and virtue signaling on topics they don't care about but pretend to for money? Yeah. I can't. Yeah, we lack empathy because of hate. It starts with us. Jesus did tell us that this would happen. He did. And it is probably the end of times. Both of you are correct in saying that. But do you know something? I have family members that still need to be saved. I have family members who still need to come to know Christ. And so I'm unwilling to accept that he could come soon yet. I started this channel praying at the end of every live. Did you guys know that? I used to pray for the families of the missing. And then I got too many comments about putting my religion into my channel and too many, nasty statements and different things like that. And so I backed off and I sat down and I quieted myself and I silenced that part of me. And I stopped presenting my ideology, my religion, my faith to my audience because I didn't want to be perceived as somebody who is doing what some of these other channels do, which is use religion to profit. I never wanted to be that person. I never wanted to be perceived as that person. I watched Tyler Feller doing his choo choo faith trains through his live, collecting his tithes. And I watch people like other creators. I watch other creators utilize that and take advantage of their Christian chatters by doing that. While they lie, cheat, steal, have fake people on their channels pretending to be outside callers and all of the things, right? Never wanted to be that person. And so I stopped. I stopped shoving my Bible down people's throats. But that's who I am. And somewhere along the line, I forgot who I am and what I stand for. And I started trying to cater to the wants and desires of the people on this platform to a point where I didn't recognize myself anymore. And I've been gone because of it. I know, Liplock. I know what you meant. Yeah, God wants us to spread his word so the unbelievers will be saved. Absolutely. He does. Call me a Bible thumper all day. I'll take it with a smile. I just, you know, we have to stand back up. We have to. Our world is the way it is right now because Christians are taught to be meek and told to love people and not engage in the back and forths and not, we're taught to walk away from battles a lot of times, I feel like, because it's better to. I don't know. I feel like we have been silenced. We've been silenced in so many different ways because we don't want to cause controversy and we want to love the sinner and hate the sin, right? We want to love people through their problems and we want to try to be the light in the darkness without being offensive. And so we silence ourselves so much and we have to stop, you guys. There are so many people on this platform who identify as Christians that sit in these streams and sit through all the hate-filled rhetoric and sit in the chats on Facebook and everywhere else. We just say stay quiet. We are not the loudest voice in the room. And that's why we're in the state that we're in. We have to stand back up. We have spent so long sitting in the pews of our church and doing no action. We have to start feeding the good wolf again. We have to start feeding the good wolf. Because right now the bad one is winning. We can't let the bad wolf win. We can't let him overtake. Yeah, Christians have been told that our morals and our beliefs make us haters. It has nothing to do with that. I love people. I don't always agree with the things that they do. Lord knows that I fall plenty enough. If the person who led me to the Lord would have led me with hatred, I would have never came. I would have never came. I was won to the Lord with love. I was won to the Lord with love. I was a vile, disgusting creature. You guys, honestly, if you would have known me before I was saved, and I feel like some of you have probably seen pieces of who I used to be because I did forget. I forgot who I belonged to. I have spent so much time silencing his voice inside of me that I have forgotten who I belong. And I have made plenty of mistakes, a million times over. But we have to remember. Thank God that he constantly reminds us, that he gives us the option for redemption. Thank God for that. The Lord was drawing you to him from a young age. You're very lucky for that, Rexy. I went through a life of hurt and pain and mistakes. Yeah, I did. And I still make mistakes every day. But I'm going to tell you that I did not meet a people who condemned me for the mistakes that I was making. I met people who welcomed me with open arms and showed me love. I don't know if we can win this battle with love anymore, though, you guys. God was merciful and all of those things, but he's also just. He's also just. And I don't know. I'm just worried. Yeah, we've forgotten the message of the cross. It's one thing to know it. It's one thing to know that God died to save you, right? That he has come and given his life so that you can be born again, so that people can be forgiven. It's one thing to know that, but it's a whole different thing to experience it. Yeah, be careful who you watch and who you listen to across the board. The Christians you associated to are open-minded, open arms, loving people who accept me the way I am. He says, "Come as you are." He says, "Come as you are." But I do think that some of yeah, there's peace in Christ. Yeah, make America believe again. It's sad that we no longer identify as a Christian nation. Did you know that? The United States is no longer considered a Christian nation. It terrifies me. We are not. We are not in Revelations. Did you know that? The last days, the United States is not listed. We are one of the nations that are sent for judgment, in my opinion. It's just sad. But there is joy in knowing that at the end of the day, he wins. Just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, right? Exactly, Justice Jane. Sometimes we Christians are the only Bible that people will read. I agree with that. Revelations is for everyone, Rexy. The entire Bible is for everyone. It's not just Democrat versus Republican, though. It's not just the election. It's not just the stuff that you see on the news and the fights going on and the evil day after day, these missing children, the people who are hurt, murdered, all of those things. It starts in the chats. It starts on Facebook. It starts with us. It starts in our homes. If it starts with me, am I living as the best Christian that I can inside of my house? Whenever I wake up in the morning, am I doing something that pleases the Lord? Am I living as a Christian right here inside of my house to my children? If I'm wanting a revival for our country, if I'm wanting more time for my family to get saved, for my family to choose to know the Lord, how do we spark that revival? We start right here inside of my house. We all have to start inside of our house and spread it out from there. My house extends to my children, extends to my YouTube channel, extends to my workplace, extends to everything that I touch. If each one of us takes responsibility for everything that we touch, can we help spark that revival? If I get a revival, and then my children get a revival, and the people who come to my YouTube channel get a revival, and the people who engage with me at work are able to get a revival, could we slowly change the tides one person at a time away from some of this hatred, away from some of the bitterness, away from feeding the bad wolf? That's where I'm at right now. I got to start changing things back to who I was, before I started to worry about what people said. I have to shut out everybody who wants to throw hate at me and figure out who I am and who I belong to so that I can get back to feeding my good wolf. so that I can ignite the change inside of my house. One person at a time. That's all I can do. You're welcome, Lip Block. I was up all night thinking about this. Like, how do I make a change in me? I agree. With the life that I've lived since the day that God put me on this earth, there's absolutely no other explanation why I am alive today and well, but God. Ramblin', I agree. Guys, you have no clue. No clue. Some of you guys know some of the things that I have been through just based off of different things that I have told you, but I've also had other freakishly weird things that probably should have killed me happened, but it didn't. Why? Why didn't I die whenever I was 4 and I fell off a 2-story porch and landed on my head? Why didn't I die whenever we had a carbon monoxide leak in my bedroom? I used to sleep in the bedroom with the hot water tank, and it had been leaking carbon monoxide. By the time they could sense it, the fume or the carbon monoxide was outside, and I was sleeping in that room for months. Why didn't I die then? I was only like 9 years old. There's so many instances that I think to myself, why didn't I die? Car accidents, abusive boyfriends, times that my mom tried to kill me whenever I was growing up. Why didn't I die? I'm here for a purpose. God has a purpose for me. I haven't filled it yet. Otherwise, I wouldn't need to be here anymore. No matter how old you are, you're still here for a purpose. If he hasn't taken you out yet, there's a reason. And I'm going to say this too. Sometimes we lose people, and I think there's a reason for that also. He has a plan. But we have a choice. We all still have a choice in the path that we're going to take. Are you going to take the path and live the life that God has intended for you? Are you going to take the path and choose the life that God wants for your life? Are you going to choose all of the goodness that He has planned for you and all the heartache? I fully believe that some of the battles that we face are so that we can be strong enough for what's to come. Are you going to take that path? Or will you choose your own way? Will you decide that, nah, I'm just going to go my own path? I can't do it on my own anymore. I know that. I have been struggling this battle inside of myself for months. For months, I have been fighting him about what my path needed to be. And I can't fight it no more because I can't do it on my own. I know that I need him. I know that I need the Lord. So I've gotten to the point now where he's waking me up inside again. He is waking me up inside again. And it feels so good. I can't I'm like tearing up, but it's not sad tears. You guys, I am so relieved to be feeling his presence in my life again because it has been so long. It's been too long since I have felt him move. And I am so thankful. I am so thankful that he still speaks to me and that he still is willing to speak to me after how many times I have chosen to feed, after how many times I have chosen to feed the devil, after how many times I have chosen to go the wrong path. I know, every time I try to argue or fight with God, I lose. Hey, Ramblin', no problem. I couldn't not say something though, right? It breaks my heart to see the state that our community is in on YouTube. Oh, it breaks my heart. There are some people that I know on this platform that are good Christian men and women that are just so far down the wrong path. And I'm just begging you guys to please start feeding the good wolf again. We don't have to do this. The money, the clicks, the views, is it worth it? Is it worth it, you guys? I mean, honestly. I'm sitting here with 14 people in my audience pouring my heart out because you know why? If I can make a difference in one of your life, one person's thoughts, it's worth it. His mercies are new every day. I was just talking to my son about this last night because he's so upset with the shooting and with everything else that's going on. And he is just so he's just so confused with everything, I guess is the word to say. Because he doesn't understand. He lives in this bubble with me where I protect him and I shelter him and we go to church, we go to karate, we do stuff, but it's all the same people everywhere we go. And he hasn't really truly experienced the evil that's out there. And so he just doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand. And I told him, every day you wake up and you choose what type of day you're going to have. Every day you wake up and you decide, are you going to start your day with the Lord or not? I open my eyes and a lot of times I pray as soon as I open my eyes. Do you make that choice? Do you make that choice to start the day with God or no? The days that I don't, oh my gosh, chaos almost always ensues almost immediately. People need to stop picking sides. Start there. Life becomes a lot simpler and happier. The problem is, I don't know what the problem is. Yeah, it's hard to understand and see evil when that's not what's in your heart. He's such a good boy. My son is going to be a great man someday. Oh, thank you, Liplock. If he stays on his path. I guess that's the reality, right? Because he has a choice that he'll make someday too. He'll have those decisions that he makes. I don't know. I just wanted to come on and kind of encourage you guys to feed the good wolf. Embrace it. It's okay to be a Christian. It's okay to be a good person. You can be a good person without being a Christian. Let me correct that statement. But there's definitely still a difference. People can do good actions and have a good heart and have good motivations behind them and not be a Christian. But let me encourage you, if you're that person, if you're just a good person, let me encourage you to take the next step. Let me encourage you to at least look into who God is. You mean Democrats or Republicans? Trivial, it's a social issue. Those types of sides. I get it, Angela. But the problem is that people have, at this point, they have put in so much passion behind their political stance. Let's put it this way. Let's look at the battle right now between Cluminati, allegedly with Brittany J, Granny's watching, Deets on the streets, Queen Bee. Let's look at that. Jonesin. Who else is involved in all of that? Headstones and headlines, or whatever her name is. Bullhorn Betty. Let's talk about that. Don't compare it Democrat versus Republican. Let's compare it to one side versus the other there. There is so much passion in every single person in those chats and hatred, pure and utter hatred from one channel to the other. The creators themselves don't necessarily spew the hatred. They might just point out faults and flaws of different people. They might just point out faults and flaws. Oh yeah, Red Rockets every day. They might just point out faults and flaws of each other day after day after day. But what it does is it becomes a passionate disagreement, a passionate negative emotional response towards one creator or another. It becomes a passionate appulsion, revulsion, and opposition from one channel to another. You are not going to look at any of those chats and say that the people in those chats are not filled with feelings of anger, contempt, disgust. It is pure and utter hatred going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's exactly how our political parties start. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We have already seen people motivated by this hatred go to Dolly's house. Do we remember that? Whenever that lady, what was her name, Eileen or something, went to Dolly's house motivated by the hatred that she was feeling because of being in these chats. And we still go back and forth, back and forth, day after day, day after day, motivating and feeding that bad wolf day after day. How long will it be until somebody else makes actions occur? I've seen people say that they're going to go to Betty's house. I have seen people say that they are going to go to people's homes. People's homes. Why is that tolerated and accepted and okay? Why is that perpetuated day after day? And the creators know about it and they keep feeding it because that's what pays. That's what gives them money. That's what gives them clicks. That's what gives them views. And it's just continuous. Look at Facebook. Let's go away from YouTube for a second. Let's look at Facebook. It's some of these cases that we follow. It's the same thing in the chats, in the comment sections, day after day after day after day after day. It's craziness. It's craziness. It's not just trivial social issues anymore, is my point. We have gotten to the point where it is literally hate-filled rhetoric. There's no such thing as a disagreement anymore. There's no such thing as differences in opinion. You can't have a conversation with people and have that conversation in a grown-up way. I mean, heck, you even have me, like, flipping out, losing my dang mind on a live stream because it just fuels you, this anger. It's crazy. I'm hoping so, Red Rock. Praying the call to lower temperatures wins out. I hope so. The ad hominem attacks on YouTube that really bother me the most and show me what kind of attitude the majority of people have. It's very sad, right? The only way that we're going to change the tides is to start taking a stand and saying it's wrong. We have been silent for far too long, you guys. We have been silent for far too long. How have we sat back and watched this become our lives? How have we sat back and sat in our pews and not moved, not stood for anything this long that this is the state of our humanity? Stand up. Stand up. We have to stand up. What a time to be alive. Yep. Be the salt of the earth, you guys. Just be the salt of the earth. That's all I can say. I don't know. It starts at my house, though. It starts with me in my home, on my YouTube channel, at my workplace, and my children. This is where it has to start. I'm not calling any of you to do anything that I'm not going to try to do myself. So, we're a team, a teamer. What's that? Oh, okay. Do you want to say hi to everybody? No. Okay. But the kiddos are up and moving, and so I am going to get off here. Love you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Sorry that this was like super preachy and ranty and I don't know. It was all the things, but I appreciate all of you guys for being here and listening to me. Just kind of put out there everything that's been in my brain the last 24 hours. I love you guys. Yeah, as for me and my house, We'll serve the Lord. We have to. We have to. Love you guys. Bye.